Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome to Wobble and Jaw Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Let's overlook Newcastle Knights 2024 fixture. Their preseason challenge, 2 games. Game number 1 emanates from Gosford, where they host the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks on a Saturday. Game number 2 sees them travel internationally to play at Churchill Park in Lautoka, Fiji, against the Melbourne Storm 7 days later on the Saturday. International travel. First up in the preseason challenge for the Newcastle Knights and the Storm, but for the Newcastle Knights we're focusing in on here primarily. We go into their regular season now, and I look at everybody's fixtures in a set of 5 blocks, and their first section, the Newcastle Knights, sees this. Round number 1, they have the honour, the distinction of being the first grade game for 2024 to be played on Australian soil at their home venue. Knights versus Raiders, Thursday night football in Newcastle. That's going to be a rager. It is a rematch from their famous elimination final last year, arguably the game of the season. Cannot wait for that. Who would have thought it'd be Knights and Raiders really kicking things off in Australia in the NRL this season. Round number 2, about 8-9 days later, they take on the North Queensland Cowboys in Townsville. 8 days later, in round number 3, they host the Melbourne Storm in a Sunday twilight fixture from their home venue. In round number 4, for Easter weekend, I should say, this is Good Sunday. It is the Warriors versus the Knights at Go Media Stadium, Sunday the 31st of March. And then to round out their first section for 2024, they're back in front of their home fans. A very short turnaround for the Newcastle Knights. They host the St George Illawarra Dragons Friday night football at McDonald Jones Stadium. So I would probably classify their start to the season as above average, and I mean as in difficulty. I do think they have one of the tougher starts to the season, and it has a lot to do with their travel. The strength of opposition is actually up there as well, in my opinion. Cowboys, Warriors, away from home. They take on the Storm twice in the space of a month. One of those matches taking place in Fiji. The Canberra Raiders in round 1. The Raiders will be stinging after their elimination final loss last season. Their first opportunity to get a crack at them comes in round number 1, where any team can get a dub on that weekend. And then the game against the Dragons, a short turnaround. They're playing in New Zealand on the Sunday, and then they're playing on the Friday night football game. So that is a short turnaround for the Knights. There's a lot of travel involved for the team from the Hunter Valley. The worst case scenario, obviously, is that they don't win. But realistically, I think the worst case scenario would be a 2-win, 3-loss start to the season. So, yeah, I think the first 5 weeks is going to reveal a hell of a lot about the Newcastle Knights' chances for 2024, honestly. And you don't ever want to say that about a club. I mean, it does take a good month to properly lay the foundations, but I think this start to the season is going to be pretty bloody vital for the Newcastle Knights. Phase 2 for 2024 for the Newcastle Knights starts on Thursday night football. They host the Sydney Roosters from McDonald Jones Stadium. So that's back-to-back away games, round 5 and round 6. Round number 7, they have a huge rest. They play on the Thursday night on round 6. Round 7, they play Sunday afternoon footy against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs at Accor Stadium. They're still on the road in round number 8. They travel to Suncorp Stadium to take on the Dolphins Sunday, 2 p.m. Round number 9, they're back home in front of their fans. They take on the New Zealand Warriors Sunday afternoon footy. That kicks off at 2 p.m. And then round number 10, they're doing things regionally against the West Tigers at Scully Park in Tamworth. Again, the Knights, they're getting either their frequent flyer points or they're getting their kilometres in on the bus over this stretch here. So their strength of opposition is a little kinder. It's relatively the same, but I think it's a little kinder. They are on the road 3 times in the space of this 5-week stretch. Dolphins, Wests and Bulldogs on the road. They're a team that looked likely to play a prelim last year, I should say. You'd think maybe they should win all 3 of those. Maybe the Dolphins would give them the most amount of curry. But then their home games against the Roosters and the Warriors is going to be crucial for them as well, because I foresee both Easts and the Wars to be pretty deep in 2024. So yeah, another interesting period for the Newcastle Knights there. A lot of road travel, a lot of frequent flyer points, but some major matchups in that 5-week stretch as well. Last year, the Knights were not a part of Magic Round. This year they are, and it kicks off their 3rd phase. Round number 11, they are technically the away side. They travel up to Suncorp Stadium again, and they take on the Gold Coast Titans Saturday 3 p.m. And they had been on the road now for 2 weeks in a row, so that's back-to-back away games between round 10 and round number 11. Then they get a bye. I think that bye is perfectly timed for the Newcastle Knights, big time. Round number 13, they're back home playing the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs Friday night football. They then have a good 8 or 9 day rest until they hit the plane again, and they're playing the Storm down in Amy Park, and that game could have origin ramifications to it as well. Round number 15, the biggest test in rugby league, comes to their part of the world. Knights, Panthers, Sunday afternoon footy. That's a major clash, huge clash, Knights and Panthers. And again, strength of opposition, Panthers storm away, and then Titans up at Suncorp. This is a danger period for sure, especially if the likes of a Kalen Ponga will be rested for State of Origin duties. The same can be said for Tyson Frizzell, Daniel Saifidi, and Jacob Saifidi as well. So yeah, another really, really intriguing part for the Newcastle Knights. Phase 4 starts with their 2nd bye of the season before they play a home game Saturday twilight fixture against the Parramatta Eels in round 17. Round 18, they have a Channel 9 Sunday afternoon footy game down at GIO Stadium in Canberra against the Raiders. They're still on the road in round 19. They play another Channel 9 Sunday afternoon footy game, this time at 4 Pines Park against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. And round number 20, to round out their 4th phase, is a home game Saturday twilight fixture against beaten grand finalists, the Brisbane Broncos. So they have a bye, and then they're away twice to the Sea Eagles and the Raiders, and the Eels and the Broncos are in town as well. With State of Origin in the rearview mirror, their run to the finals starts in round 21. What does their final 6 or 7 weeks look like? Well, in round 21, it starts with a bye. Round 22 is where it all fair income starts after having their 3rd and final bye of the year. They take on the Panthers Sunday 2 p.m. out there at Bluebet Stadium. They're going to have to make a massive statement in that game. Round number 23, 7 days later, they host the West Tigers at McDonald Jones Stadium. And just over the past 3 or 4 years, the Tigers have provided to be a fair income nuisance. They've won a couple of games against the Knights over the past 4 years or so. So that could be telling. Then round number 24 and round 25, they are on the road back-to-back weeks. Round 24 though, Sunday afternoon football, Channel 9 game against the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks out there at PointsBet Stadium. Round number 25, they play on the Saturday night at Accor Stadium, and this is going to be a Channel 9 game and they're taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs from Accor Stadium in round 25. Round number 26 and round 27 to round out their regular season are both at home, which is fantastic for them and much deserved because they are travelling a fair bit in 2024. Round 26, Sunday afternoon footy, they take on the Gold Coast Titans at 2 p.m. And 7 days later, it's the same day but just a little bit later, making this the very final game for the regular season, full stop, in the NRL. Knights versus the Dolphins from McDonald Jones Stadium, Channel 9, Sunday afternoon footy, the final game of the regular season. So their run to the finals does start with the bye. They have away games against Panthers, Sharks and Souths. Ooh, that's, yeah man, if you make finals, you're going to absolutely earn it. And then their home opposition, the Titans, Dolphins, they could be about where the Knights are going to be this time last season sort of thing. Both Titans and Dolphins could be sitting 8th and 9th respectively about this time. So these games could have finals ramifications to it as well. And then there's a game against the West Tigers. I think the Knights can win a majority of these games, but it's not easy. I don't think this is the hardest run to the finals. I don't think it's the easiest though. I think there's a lot of tricky games that they need to navigate. And to be honest, in wrapping things up for the Newcastle Knights, they may not have the toughest draw, but I think getting momentum to start their season, at this point in time, I think they're the team that need to get momentum the most. They're a team that could be one of those sides like the Cowboys in recent history, where they come out of nowhere to be bloody brilliant one year, and then they become the hunted, and then they fall down the ladder a little bit. I think if they don't get early season momentum, and if they can't maintain the rage, it's a fixture that, in my opinion, looks to be difficult to kickstart for the Newcastle Knights. There's not a lot of reprieve for the Newcastle Knights in terms of travel and of strength of opposition. If the Newcastle Knights don't find form early on and maintain it, it's going to be difficult for them. And the same thing could be said for all teams really, but I just think that this fixture for the Newcastle Knights, if they don't find form and momentum early, it's a fixture that doesn't give you a whole lot of opportunity to give you that kickstart to your season. So, and again, that run to the finals as well, man. 3 fixtures away from home against Souths, Sharks and Panthers, who you think would all be in top 8 calculations. Titans and Dolphins coming to their home stadium with aspirations of making the top 8 for the first time ever, or for the first time in a couple of seasons. And then the plucky Tigers, who have been a nuisance to you. Yeah, it's a difficult draw, I think, for the Newcastle Knights, to be honest with you. I hope you're enjoying the Overlook series, guys. I think the Newcastle Knights don't have the easiest draw, not the hardest, but I think it's just above average, in my opinion, on the difficulty meter. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Take care. Adios.